Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. Today I got a story about DC Comics writer and former editor-in-chief of Comics Alliance, Andrew Wheeler, known for pitching Justice League Queer, recently claiming that Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling is, quote, playing with my personal safety for rhetorical clout. To put it briefly, he's upset with Rowling because she responded to him and that she also retweeted another response to him. That's right, this man is upset because Rowling had the audacity to respond to him and retweet another response. And this is what led him to claim that Rowling is, quote, playing with my personal safety for rhetorical clout. So, to provide you some context about this Andrew Wheeler character, when he was the editor-in-chief at Comics Alliance, he made his goals very clear that he wanted to radically alter the comic book world. He wrote, "We need to get from some to enough, and really we'll know we've achieved success when Captain America can have a boyfriend and Wonder Woman can have a girlfriend. For queer representation in superhero comics, that's what success looks like." So this is the kind of person we're dealing with. And I'm going to give you some context as to where Wheeler's claim came from. So his claim regarding Rowling came after he accused her of, quote, empowering far-right forces. So to begin, on March 12th, Rowling took to Twitter where she wrote, "I don't think our politicians have the slightest idea how much anger is building among women from all walks of life at the attempts to threaten and intimidate them out of speaking publicly about their own rights, their own bodies, and their own lives." Ironically, that's exactly what Andrew Wheeler tries to do. Rowling continued in a subsequent tweets. She added, "Among the thousands of letters and emails I received are disillusioned members of Labor, the Greens, the Lib Dems, and the SNP. Women are scared, outraged, and angry at the deaf ear turned to their well-founded concerns, but women are organizing." She concluded her short thread writing, "Now, Keir Starmer publicly misrepresents equalities law, and yet another indication that the Labour Party can no longer be counted on to defend women's rights. But I repeat, women are organizing across party lines, and their resolve and their anger are growing." In response to this thread, a Twitter user by the name of Johnny Worst wrote, "Thank you for speaking up so powerfully. It's a tragedy and a scandal that our gay rights organizations are now dedicated to undermining both women's rights and the very foundation of same-sex attraction." Rowling responded to the tweet writing, "Innumerable gay people have been in touch with me to say exactly this. Like women, they, especially lesbians, are under attack for not wishing to be redefined and for refusing to use ideological language they find offensive." And this is where Wheeler jumps into the conversation. He would respond to this tweet from Rowling accusing her of, quote, empowering far-right forces, as I noted previously. This is what he wrote. "You are empowering far-right forces that endanger all women and queer people with misleading and hateful rhetoric. It's not too late for you to walk back from the dark path you found yourself on. Please listen to the people who are asking you to lead with love." Remember, this whole thing started with Rowling making the assertion saying, "I don't think our politicians have the slightest idea how much anger is building among women from all walks of life at the attempts to threaten and intimidate them out of speaking publicly about their own rights, their own bodies, and their own lives." And that's exactly what Andrew Wheeler does. He lacks absolutely any kind of self-awareness. He clearly has no idea what he's actually talking about, and he just falls right in. Honestly, I don't think that's Rowling setting a trap, but he falls right into this trap of trying to do what she clearly says people are trying to do. You literally just can't make it up. But he would go on to add, "I won't see your responses to this, folks, so why not spend the time you might have used crafting a scathing putdown to instead reflect on how the authoritarian right manufactures culture wars to divide its opponents. Love and light, protect trans kids." Yes, it is the people reacting to this absolutely insane stuff are the ones who are manufacturing culture wars. This guy is a complete and utter lunatic, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he clearly, as I noted in the very beginning of this video, he has a very specific viewpoint that he wants to make widespread across all of comics, and my guess is he wants to make it widespread across all of society as well, and I think his tweets here are evidence to that. So Rowling would respond to his initial response using a standard meme format of presenting different groups' opinion on a topic. This is what she wrote. Far right to little boy wearing a dress. Take that off, it means you're not a real man. Gender identity theorists. Wanting to wear dresses means you're really a girl. Radical feminists. Boys can wear dresses, you look great. Rowling then questioned, which of these two positions are most alike, Andrew? It's this tweet that Wheeler claims that Rowling is, quote, playing with my personal safety for rhetorical clout. He would write on Twitter, I would prepare to give R, meaning Rowling, the benefit of the doubt to believe that she cannot conceive of the scale of the abuse she invites into people's lives, but this is extraordinary. She retweeted someone who tried to link me to P's, R's, and misogynists. He then shared a screenshot of Rowling retweeting a user that responded to Wheeler claiming that Rowling was empowering far-right forces. The user wrote, I agree the far-right must be happy about the left split on gender. On the other hand, P's, R's, and misogynists are identifying as queer and coming after women who speak up about their rights. And men like this, referring to Wheeler, are joining in, which must be a really dark path to find yourself on. So in a subsequent tweet, Wheeler claimed, she's playing with my personal safety for rhetorical clout. She's inviting death threats against me because I asked her to lead with love rather than play into the hands of the far right. No, you accused her of empowering far right voices. You also tried to silence her and stop her from speaking out on what she did. And honestly, you were the one being the aggressive person. So now you're trying to play the victim that you got called out and someone threw a punch back at you. So he concluded this tweet saying, Miss Rowling, please look at what comes so easily to you. Look at what you've become. Again, trying to manipulate her, emotionally manipulate her into claiming that she's wrong. I mean, this guy is just a very disturbed individual. He concluded this thread writing, P.S. When I say the benefit of the doubt, I mean specifically with regards to her use of quote tweeting, quote retweeting to her 14 million followers. Her attitudes in other regards have been beyond any doubt for some time now. This is a person who claimed it was doxing to photograph her house. Wheeler would double down on his claim that Rowling is putting his safety at risk and his accusations, and he would double down on his accusations against her in an email newsletter. He began the email writing, if you didn't hear, one of the world's most popular authors sent her 14 million Twitter followers after me because I asked her to reconsider her rhetoric on trans issues. Again, he's conflating her responding to him with now her like sending 14 million people after him. It's absolutely a ridiculous notion. And as I've clearly noted in this video, this is a blatant lie. He accused her of empowering far-right voices and claimed she was endangering women and queer people. And I think he was also trying to emotionally manipulate her in order to shut her up because he doesn't want her speaking out on this. Doesn't like that. So he's lying in his email. Not to stop there with his lies, Wheeler then accused Rowling of contributing, quote, to a pervasive atmosphere of hostility towards trans and queer people that has been weaponized as a culture war by far-right politicians. Ironically, that's almost the exact opposite of what Rowling claims. Instead, she's hearing the opposite. But nevertheless, Wheeler then noted that he made sure he didn't see any responses from Rowling's followers. Remember, he's claiming that she's putting his safety at risk, but he hasn't actually seen any of her responses. And as noted in the tweet above, he said that he wasn't looking at anyone's responses. So not sure how his safety is being put at risk when he's not actually even reading any of the responses or seeing them. So this is what he wrote. I didn't see those responses because I immediately set up filters that blocked them out. But enough friends reached out in concern that I knew the responses were, let's say, candid and enthusiastic. The only response I've actually seen him quote is that one where that is talking about the P's, R's, and misogynists. He doesn't share anyone actually like threatening his line. Wheeler then makes the absurd claim that quote tweeting someone is inviting abuse. He stated, when someone with a lot of followers quote tweets to disagree with someone, they're inviting harassment and abuse towards that person. I'm small fry, and I still avoid using quote tweets to dunk on people with less of a platform than me. That's right, responding to people via quote tweet is now inviting harassment and abuse. This guy is absolutely off his rocker. This makes absolutely no sense. Responding to someone is not inviting harassment and abuse. That claim is absolutely absurd and completely disingenuous, and no serious person would ever make it. Wheeler didn't stop there. He went on to claim that by quote tweeting someone who noted that P's, R's, and misogynists are identifying as queer and coming after women who speak up about their rights, Rowling had quote, had invited a threat to my safety that may hang over me for the rest of my life or end it. He added, honestly, there are fewer Belgians in the world than there are people who now might want me dead. Just absolutely insane rhetoric coming from Andrew Wheeler, and I'm actually not surprised by this because this is what people like Andrew Wheeler do. You see it every day. They try and punch at you, they get punched back, and then they cry victim. I'm not having it. J.K. Rowling doesn't appear to be having it, and I hope more and more people aren't having it either, because this is just sick stuff from this Andrew Wheeler guy. Very, very sick stuff. He then accused Rowling of harming trans kids. He wrote, anti-trans rhetoric hurts vulnerable populations, especially trans kids. It encourages the kind of hateful legislation that we're seeing sweep the U.S. It destroys lives and it racks up a body count. He doesn't provide any evidence. This clearly just seems like his opinion, and we have, I think I've made it very clear, his opinion is just absolute dog crap. He finally concluded his email writing, I'm just collateral damage. The author wasn't thinking about my safety when she quote tweeted me, just as she isn't thinking about trans kids when she elevates the boogeyman rhetoric that has hurt queer people for almost a century. She doesn't seem to understand the power of her words. This is the people that DC Comics is writing. This is the people that DC Comics is literally putting in charge of creating propaganda, in my mind, and they're promoting this type of person. Andrew Wheeler is writing DC Comics works. He's been in a number of anthologies, and he was the guy who pitched the Justice League queer book. Fortunately, that was defeated by popular vote when DC put it up in their tournament for a 6-issue miniseries. But this is the type of stuff that DC Comics is promoting. This is the type of people that DC Comics is promoting, and it's one reason why I'm not reading DC Comics anymore. This is a horrible, awful, and dare I say, evil rhetoric, and Andrew Wheeler clearly can't take any kind of criticism. Instead, he's playing a super victim here, trying to win points, and he's not getting any from me. Those are my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you think. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics.